This is a production of Off the Hook Sports with Dave Hooker.
My guy Cooper Mays joining us now, and we've got a lot to talk about that we're looking forward to on the program today. We're going to talk about hopefully a fantastic Father's Day that Cooper had with his pops, who has some pretty good Tennessee ties, if I might say. And then we'll talk about my disastrous Father's Day. But anyway, it's a lot to get to. It's all brought to you by City Heat and Air. City Heat and Air, they are fantastic. City Heating and Air Conditioning. Go to them, cityheatandair.com, if you need any type of service, because all this promises of the $25 checkup and all that stuff, it's just going to leave you paying more, not getting the best service. That's City Heating and Air Conditioning. All right, Coop, let me ask you, how was your Father's Day? I know you had the family in town. Cade, your brother, was in town. Your dad, what'd you guys do to celebrate the big Father's Day? Tell us about Pops.
Yeah, it was pretty busy actually. So Kay came back in this weekend, and my little brother's birthday actually falls on Father's Day. So I don't know I don't know if our Father's Day really revolves as much around my father, maybe my little brother now probably, but it was a good day. We went out to the pool, had a good little pool day, had some good cooking, had a bunch of big old steaks.
Nice.
Great.
My son got COVID Saturday when he went on a trip with his girlfriend and their family. So on the way back, he said, "I'm not going to be able to hang out." And I said, "For how long?" So I got to quarantine for 5 days. So he's upstairs doing something. I don't know what. I left some wings out for him. He just kind of creeps out and eats them. But anyway, there's a lot more exciting things to talk about than that. And one of the things that I did want to visit with you is, with your dad, obviously Kevin Mays played for Tennessee, so maybe he's one of those, but he may be this guy, the first athlete that you were a fan of as you go back into when Cooper was little bitty Cooper.
Yeah, I would probably say the first person that I can remember would probably be like Eric Berry, either Eric Berry or LeBron. So it's pretty different ends of the spectrum. But I would say Eric Berry because my uncle played in the mid 2000s too, and then that's kind of like the first time I can remember. I remember like going to the games. I think one of the first games I can ever remember was actually the game that Inky Johnson got hurt against Air Force. Yeah, mm-hmm. So I think that was one of the first games. So I wasn't watching a lot of sports back then, but I remember seeing number 14 early in my life, just being a baller out there. I remember him hitting Tebow, and I was like, that's crazy because I'd never seen anything like that. So I was like, this is wild. I was like, I got to play this game.
Yeah, that's pretty neat that he would have that sort of an impact. And he had that sort of an impact on a not so great team, which just shows you that you go out there and you give it your all, which is a Tennessee saying, but in general, you give it your all, you don't know what type of impact you could have for years to come.
Yeah, right. I think honestly, ballers are gonna do what they do regardless. You know what I mean? So like even I can kind of relate this back. If you look at like the high school scene nowadays, you look at kids like wanting to transfer, like, oh, I've got to transfer here so I can get a better chance of going to college. I want to transfer there because their coaches, push them a little bit better. This is 2022. You know what I'm saying? If everybody's going to get recognized if they're good enough. So I mean, if you gotta just you'll find your way if you got the talent. So it doesn't really matter who you're playing with, who you're playing against. If you're good, you're good. That's how it's going to go.
Well, that's fair. Now, who was your uncle in the mid 2000s? As I continue to feel old,
Michael Frog. He played.
Oh yeah, I remember him. Yeah, he snapped, and so that was your uncle. I didn't know that.
Yeah, it's my mom's brother. So my dad played here, and then my mom's brother started quite a few games at center. Actually, started as a walk-on, and then earned a scholarship maybe 2 years into his career. Ended up, playing in front of a 5-star, if I remember. I think Josh McNeil or something like that.
That's right.
That's a pretty good career right there.
No. He was very good. I want to say he kept handling some special team snapping, but I could be wrong on that. But I'm pretty sure I'm right that and Josh McNeil was a fantastic player. Which last name would you rather have, Frog or Hooker?
Probably Frog, honestly. It's FROGG, so it's not.
That is,
You know,
yes. There's no question that is the correct answer, Cooper.
no.
Sorry, let's go back to last season for a bit. Was there a moment? Because we talked about worst losses because of the baseball team a week back, but let's talk about the most gratifying moment. Let's start with, as a team, what do you think was the most gratifying moment? Then I'll kind of want to ask you personally, on a personal level.
Right. I would probably say I don't know if it's exactly a moment, but I think both of them kind of really go together. Myself and the team.
Okay.
I think my favorite moment of the whole season was kind of all around the Kentucky game. I felt like that was just a really hard fought win. The offense played pretty well. We didn't even I think we only played like 40 plays, but we put up like 40 something points. So I mean, it was just a really hard fought victory on the road. A lot of people didn't give us much of a shot at winning. I think a lot of people thought we were going to lose that game. I'm not really sure what the thought was. I never had a doubt in my mind that we're going to beat Kentucky, when I go out there usually. But yeah, so it was a good victory, I think.
So you said you kind of played the overlooked card, so to speak, and that is a lot of people didn't think you'd go out there and win. Um, do you guys as a team still kind of play that, as a lot of people are still overlooking us, or at some point do you become established where that goes away?
I mean, I guess you got to think about it that way because, I mean, we talked about it earlier in the year. A lot of people were predicting that us beating LSU would be a monumental upset. I think is what kind of people made it seem like, and I wasn't as convinced that that would be a huge upset. I mean, I think it's a very competitive game that there isn't a one sided favorite. I think if you look at our team now, I think just another year in Heupel's system and just everybody kind of growing together as a team. I think we're a pretty stout team in my opinion. So we may play that underdog role because people try to put us there, and I mean, it's definitely not going to hurt to have a little extra motivation. But I think in our minds, we expect to win.
Yeah, I mean, it's that being overlooked role is something that Tom Brady continues to use, and nobody's overlooking Tom Brady. It's kind of like a mindset that you like to put yourself in.
No, no doubt. I mean, obviously, people that are at the height of any profession are probably going to be a little bit just different in their head. You know what I mean? Like if you look at Michael Jordan, obviously like one of the greatest players ever play the game, he's not going to have the same mental makeup. Tom Brady, he's not going to have the same mental makeup as just a normal human being that just strives to kind of be in the mediocre lane. So you look at highly successful people, they're always going to have a chip on their shoulder. I mean, you look at Bryce Young, the one that just won the Heisman from Alabama. He was talking about how he was overlooked and how everybody doubted him, and people were all like, "Oh yeah, you were overlooked. You were a 5 star," and people just don't get it. They really don't understand. I mean, I think I have like a tweet out there that's talking about people, doubting me a little bit, and they're like, "Oh, you're a 4 star offensive lineman." Well, people said these things to me. You know what I'm saying? Like people said I was too small to play here. People said I wasn't really an SEC type player. I belong more at ETSU, which is no slight to ETSU. I think it's a great place. But I
Yeah.
feel as if I'm a better player than that. So that always was something that really fueled me. So I think if you look at anybody, I think it's good to have a chip on your shoulder and kind of just have an extra motivation. It's not going to hurt anything.
Why do you think people said that? Because I'm gonna give you a little insight. Guys that covered on the outside, for the most part, like me, don't really know football. They don't know knee bend, hip flexion, all that stuff. They don't know 3-4 from 4-3. Most guys don't. So why do you think? I mean, they don't. I'll just tell you, it's the truth. I
Oh,
know a little bit. I think I know a little bit more than the average, but I'm nowhere close to you guys or a coach. I'm aware of that, but I'm just curious why people decided to throw that shade your way. Why do you think?
well, the simple fact of the matter is that nowadays people have lost all awareness of consequences for their words and actions, in my opinion. So anybody can sit behind a computer and say whatever they want. I mean, everybody says that nowadays, but it's the truth. I mean, if you look at it as a society, we've kind of been very much put out of touch by technology and just the ability to say whatever you want without any consequences. So I would say that's that. I would also say it was probably a lot of, jealousy and anger that Cade went to Georgia. I mean, there's a lot of things that go into it. But at the end of the day, is the simple fact of the matter is people don't have any consequences for what they say nowadays. And on the other side of that, people are going to treat you exactly how they feel. So if somebody's feeling, pretty miserable in their own life, they're going to try to spew that out on everybody else around them. So, and especially if you don't have to have any consequence of it, yeah, they're definitely going to go on Twitter and say it.
Would you be the same college player if not for the naysayers that motivated you?
I think I would have, but it's always good to have something like that. I mean, let's be real. Motivation is only going to last, for certain areas and points. So any type of anything, any fuel that you can add to your fire, I think is good to have. But yeah, I will say I'm a pretty consistent individual. I feel like you're going to get the same thing out of me, whether I feel up or down. You know what I mean? So I don't know. I'd probably be the same player, but it definitely didn't hurt.
No, it didn't hurt. And I've never really dove into this, and we don't have to go too deep into it. But just during that time where Cade did decide to go to Georgia, and man, I think you know me well enough. I'm a player's first guy. Like if you guys can get paid, if you guys can transfer, I'm all for it, and that's happening. I'm all for a guy to be able to pick a school no matter where he's going. And some Tennessee fans might get upset with me for saying that, but just because you live in Knoxville or your dad play doesn't mean that you have to go to that school. That's the way I've always felt. Go where you want to go. Be happy. It's your life. But how tough were some of those times when he decided to go to Georgia?
It was only as tough as you let it be. I mean, if anybody looking from the outside looking in, I mean, yeah, it was very bad. But at the end of the day, it was just people on Twitter, people on Instagram, people on stuff like that. And it's the same thing when Cade left Georgia to come back here. All the Georgia fans that were so happy that he came were all upset. And all the fans that were so upset that he left here were so happy that he came back. It's just it's only as bad as you let it be. I don't pay attention to stuff like that on social media and everything. So it didn't really affect me. But I mean, if you let it was pretty bad. I think my family had to change phone numbers and everything. So
yeah, that's why I texted your dad trying to run you down. It took me forever. I was like, does Kevin not like me anymore? But
no,
I mean,
it was pretty egregious, I would say.
Does it put things in perspective? Because how old are you now? Right now, are you 21, 20? Okay, yeah, that's right. Because you just had a birthday a couple months ago. So I mean, so you just turned 21. Does that kind of put things in perspective, even at your age, that ultimately, yes, football is important. What you do to benefit yourself is important. But at the end of the day, you already have sort of this grasp of, I can't let other people affect my mindset. That's pretty heavy for that's pretty heavy for a 21-year-old, man. Kudos.
Right. Well, the thing is, I'm a part of something a lot greater than what that hate comes from. Like I'm a part of the Tennessee, like University of Tennessee football team. So I've got a lot of big things going for me, and I can't sit here and let just people that really don't even have a profile picture. You don't know who they are. They're just sitting at home in their mom's, couch, and they're just sitting there with cookie crumbles all over their stomachs and boxers on, and they're just spewing hate everywhere. So I don't know. I mean, all I know is I've been here and done that. I've played games here, and I just know that the level that some people take it is just pretty extreme. And I say that for somebody who's been a part of the rivalries, played Alabama, played Georgia. I've been the one on the field doing it. And just people really go out of their lane, in my opinion, when talking about some certain stuff.
I agree with that. We had you, we're doing a countdown of the most important players for the upcoming 2023 season. So, yeah, thanks. Do what?
What point was I? Where was that?
Oh, okay. Well, we're doing a countdown. So I got you at we have you at number 19, the most important players on this team. Is that about in line with what you thought? Would you have gone higher, lower? What do you think?
I don't know. I mean, I don't know. Well, I don't know. It just depends.
Well, I mean, the only way we could find out is if you didn't play and see the fall off, and I don't want that to happen. But
Last year, just go watch last year's film.
I agree. I'm telling you, there will be some. Yes, there would be some sort of significant drop off if you decided you didn't want to play. But I think it would be very, very significant. So I mean, I thought 19 was a good spot, but you sound like you'd like to be a little bit higher.
I'm really just messing with you, honestly.
Because I happen to know the owner of Off the Hook Sports Media. I can make some things happen. Yeah, he's this old has-been guy. So, Coop, awesome stuff as always. Again, been very blessed to have you and Jacob to be able to work with, because you both are so mature beyond your years. I mean, I was a complete idiot at 21. You know, I think actually, I'll give you a little hint or a little insight. Tennessee asked me to leave for a while, so that we did a little Pellissippi, and then I came back. But you're getting ready to go on to the NFL, and then after that, start a great business. So, I'm blown away by you guys. I mean, your dad would be proud.
I really hope so.
Good deal. Coop, we'll talk to you in a week. Again, our conversation with Cooper Mays. I think, we've got 19 on the list, number 1 in my heart. It's Cooper Mays is out there, and it's brought to you by City Heating and Air Conditioning. That's quality, not just turn and churn. That's cityheatandair.com, a presentation of Off the Hook Sports.